Charlotte Hornets have officially put the entire league on notice, rattling off a league-best 6 consecutive victories, fueled by the most potent offense in the NBA over the past 15 matchups. This isn't just a flash in the pan. This young core is arriving. But before we hype up any single player, we need to break down exactly why this new look Charlotte squad is clicking. Usually, when underdogs go on a heater like this, it is because they are hitting shots at an unsustainable clip, a lucky hot streak that eventually freezes over. However, for the Hornets, that narrative simply does not apply. Check the numbers. Over the last 15 games, they rank number 1 in offensive rating, number 1 in net rating, number 1 in plus, minus, number 1 in rebounding rate, and number 1 in second chance points. They also sit at number 2 in limiting opponent field goal percentage and free throw attempts. When you are dominating the stat sheet in that many categories simultaneously, you can't call it a fluke, you call it a system. If you're enjoying this breakdown, smash that like button. The data proves one thing. This team is winning the war for possessions every single night. That dominance on the point lead boards is the secret weapon, especially evident against San Antonio and their 7'4" alien Victor Wembanyama. The Hornets didn't just compete on the glass, they owned it. Charlotte out-rebounded the Spurs 51-36. Musa Diabate grabbed 10 boards, while Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball snagged 8 each. That is the key takeaway, because it isn't just one center doing the dirty work. It is relentless size and hustle from 1 through 5. When you generate significantly more field goal attempts than your rival, you dictate the entire flow of the match. That has been the headline for Charlotte recently, creating more opportunities to score than the opposition. That is why I am buying stock in this run. Rebounding is about effort, energy, and discipline, not luck. These are controllable factors. And when a young roster locks in like this, sparking their first 6-game winning streak, since 2016, the momentum shifts fast. The terrifying part for the rest of the East is that this group is still learning how to play together. They aren't even a finished product yet, and as the team chemistry builds, the individual stardom explodes. Don't forget to subscribe for more NBA deep dives. Now, let's talk Brandon Miller. Over his last 10 outings, Miller has gone supernova. He is putting up 24.7 points per night, adding 5.2 rebounds and 3.3 assists, all while draining 44% of his triples, a staggering 98% from the stripe, and 51% from the field. To put those numbers into perspective, he is one of only 3 players in the association averaging 24 points with 50-40-90 splits during that span. The other 2, Anthony Edwards and Steph Curry. That clearly illustrates the elite company he is keeping and how rare this level of play truly is. But what makes this stretch special is how he responds to adversity. Against the Spurs, he started a miserable 1 for 8 from the floor. Typically, that is when a sophomore slumps their shoulders and disappears. Instead, Brandon kept his foot on the gas. He remained poised, finishing with 26 points, 8 boards, and 2 stops on 7 of 21 shooting. He made the monster plays when it mattered, including a massive 4-point play opportunity right over the outstretched arms of Victor Wembanyama. So, in a contest where he struggled early, Brandon Miller ended up being the closing factor. Moments like that showcase the swagger, rhythm, and belief flowing through this collective unit. And for Miller, these aren't empty stats on a losing team. When he is on the court during this run, Charlotte is winning those minutes, which is just as vital as the raw scoring. His production fits perfectly into their identity, helping them dictate the terms of the game rather than just hanging around. The Philadelphia matchup was a masterclass in this dominance. In a 130-93 demolition of an Eastern Conference rival, Miller dropped 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 steals while shooting. 9 of 11 from the field, resulting in a perfect 100% true shooting percentage. That outing placed him 5th all-time in NBA history for games with 30-plus points on perfect true shooting efficiency. And folks, he is only 23. He is years away from his prime. When you watch the tape, it is obvious why this feels sustainable. His jumper is liquid gold, but his ability to fire while in motion sets him apart from other young scorers. Charlotte runs heavy dribble handoff action at the top of the key, and Miller navigates those screens with lethal intent. The split second the ball touches his hands, he is locked and loaded. If you aren't glued to his hip, you are likely getting torched because his release is blink and you miss it fast. And when you mix With his massive wingspan and the sheer force he generates attacking the rim, Brandon Miller is rapidly becoming a defensive nightmare for the rest of the league. He is already bullying opponents in the paint and putting guys on posters with ease. As he continues to add muscle and stack up experience, that interior dominance is only going to get scarier. This isn't just a fleeting hot streak we are witnessing, folks. It feels like the genuine arrival of a legitimate offensive superstar. What convinces me that this is the real deal is the team-wide effect. It's not just one player catching fire for a few weeks. When a squad is truly turning a corner, everyone feeds off that energy in the big moments. And let me tell you, that clash with the Dallas Mavericks was not your average regular season victory. That was an instant classic, the kind of game we will be rewatching in 10 or 15 years, pinpointing it as the moment the tide turned. Matches like that are rare gems. Charlotte fans haven't had many nights like that to celebrate, which made this one so vital. The Mavs came to town, and Cooper Flagg went absolutely nuclear. He dropped 49 points and basically set up camp in the paint, getting whatever look he wanted and finishing through contact regardless of the defensive scheme. But the headline here is that the Hornets did not crumble under that pressure. They stayed composed, trading blows and refusing to back down. This wasn't a blowout. It evolved into a heavyweight prize fight. And standing toe-to-toe on the other side was Khan, who met the challenge with 34 points of his own, icing the game with clutch free throws to secure a 123-121 victory. What I respected most about this showdown was Khan's mentality. He didn't shy away. He demanded the assignment to guard Cooper. He wanted that burden on his shoulders. The tension was palpable because of their history. Khan and Cooper weren't just Duke teammates, they were roommates. But friendship goes out the window when you step onto an NBA court. The rivalry took center stage. Khan actually put the clamps on early, holding Flagg to a measly 2 points in the opening quarter. Of course, Cooper is a generational talent, so he flipped the switch and hit 49 anyway. But do not sleep on Khan's performance. He drained 8 3-pointers, shattering PJ Washington's franchise record for a rookie in a single game. That is one of those stats that makes you pause and realize, okay, this kid is special. Once Khan saw the first one go down, he turned into a human torch. That pull-up triple off the screen in the third quarter was the perfect example of his elite mechanics. He doesn't need to get set. He doesn't need space. The moment the leather touches his hands, he is ready to let it fly. That level of trigger discipline and confidence is incredibly rare for a rookie, especially in a high-pressure shootout. That is why defenses are realizing they cannot relax for a split second. Before we look at the wild stats, if you're enjoying this breakdown, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more Hornets coverage. Now, the numbers. The only players in the league this season averaging at least 18 points, 3 triples per game, and 62% true shooting are Khan, Steph Curry, and Anthony Edwards. That is legendary company. A rookie has no business being on that list, yet here he is. Khan is already establishing himself as one of the premier marksmen in the sport, and remember, this is just year one. This is likely the rawest version of him we will ever see. Coming out of Duke, he was projected as a high-level support piece to Cooper Flagg, not necessarily a franchise cornerstone, but he is already producing like a primary option against top-tier competition. If this is his floor, then his ceiling is legitimately superstar status in this league. Following that gritty 106-101 win over the Spurs, the Hornets didn't just pass a test. They improved to 22-28. Looking at the upcoming schedule, I honestly wouldn't be shocked if they leapfrog the Bulls and Hawks to lock themselves firmly into the top 10. If they pull that off, Charlotte is looking at postseason basketball for the first time since 2022. Just getting back to that stage would be a massive milestone, especially considering the struggles they have faced. But here is the mind-blowing part. Statistically, they should be even better. When you analyze their expected win-loss record based on performance, they are currently underperforming by a margin of -5.6, the most unlucky mark in the NBA. The analytics tell a simple story. The Hornets should have banked about 5.5 more wins than their record shows. If you correct for that bad luck and add those wins back to their 22-28 record, suddenly you are looking at a squad that is effectively 27-23. If the standings reflected their actual quality, they would be sitting as the 6th seed in the East, above the Philadelphia 76 ERS and just 2 games behind the Raptors and Cavaliers. That isn't just optimism. That is the mathematical reality of how good this team is. Forget what the Eastern Conference standings say. Placing the Charlotte Hornets behind squads like Atlanta or Chicago, that's not just wrong, it's insulting. Actually, let me rephrase that. It's a blessing in disguise because nobody sees them coming. This offense has evolved into an absolute buzzsaw that defenses haven't figured out how to solve yet. They aren't just good, they are unpredictable. You've got a roster loaded with guys who can torch you from anywhere on the floor, meaning the days of double teaming a single superstar are over. You try that against Charlotte now, and someone else will make you pay. Just look at the numbers. They are currently sitting 5th in the entire NBA for three-point efficiency, draining 37.3% of their shots from deep. That kind of spacing is a game changer. It forces defenses to stretch out past their comfort zone, opening up driving lanes that simply weren't there before. But, and there is always a but with young teams, there is one glaring issue keeping them from being elite: turnovers. They are coughing up the rock 14.8 times a night. If you're enjoying this breakdown so far, do me a favor and smash that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Now, imagine if they shaved off just 2 or 3 of those giveaways. That is the razor-thin margin between a heartbreaking loss and a blowout victory. Ball security is legitimately the only heavy chain dragging them down right now. However, we have to be realistic. This is a youthful roster, and you don't fix discipline issues overnight. Then again, nobody predicted they would explode offensively in January like they did. So, honestly, I'm done putting limits on this group. Who's to say they can't tighten up the handle? The magic of their current run comes down to balance. We are talking about a team with 4 separate players averaging over 18 points per game. That list is terrifying. Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, and the rookie sensation Con Knuppel. Good luck game planning for that. It's a pick your poison scenario every single night, because if you shut down LaMelo, Miller goes off. If you lock up Miller, Knuppel, or Bridges steps up. It's not just isolation scoring either. The ball movement is unrecognizable compared to last season. They are running legitimate, complex sets, lots of dribble handoffs at the top of the key that flow into beautiful passing sequences and wide open looks. If you love deep dive basketball analysis like this, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an update. When you look at the big picture, you can finally see the vision coming together. It's a system that looks heavily inspired by the 2024 Boston Celtics high-volume three-point shooting fueled by unselfish ball movement. But the real key is the personnel. You have the young core of Knuppel and Miller growing alongside a resurgent LaMelo Ball, who is playing some of the best basketball of his career. The roadmap to contending is crystal clear for the first time in years. Speaking of Eastern Conference teams heating up, the Philadelphia 76ers are making some noise of their own. I broke down their recent surge in a new video. Click right here on the screen to watch that now. The secret behind Charlotte's explosive offense isn't just talent, it is lethal balance. This squad currently features 4 different players averaging more than 18 points per game this season. You are looking at a core of Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball, Knuppel, and Miles Bridges. That is an absolute nightmare for defensive coordinators because it feels like a fresh superstar can step up every single night to bury you. You cannot just neutralize one threat and expect to survive. The arsenal is too deep. If you are loving this breakdown, make sure to subscribe for more. And that is before you even account for their dramatically improved passing game. Charlotte is executing precise offensive actions, utilizing clean handoffs at the top of the key that flow into fluid ball movement and generate premium shots for everyone on the floor. When you look at the big picture, this franchise finally has a concrete vision. They are running a system that feels heavily inspired by the 2024 Boston Celtics, hunting high-volume three-pointers and capitalizing on rapid passing sequences. Crucially, you have the young tandem of Knuppel and Brandon Miller working in sync with a version of LaMelo Ball who is aggressively rewriting his season narrative. There is a definitive lane for this group to keep stacking wins at an elite level, but they aren't the only ones heating up. The Philadelphia 76ers are tearing through the Eastern Conference. To see exactly how Philly is dominating, smash that like button and click right here to watch our full breakdown immediately. Breaking news is hitting the airwaves right this very second. Before we dive in, make sure to crush that like button and subscribe to the channel for non-stop updates.